Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with our program. We have some individuals and organizations we would like to celebrate this evening. This Jubilee Gala here at the New Orleans Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. I'd like to bring up now someone who has been a true servant leader for the state of Louisiana. In January of 2016, Governor John Bel Edwards appointed Don Pearson to serve as the Secretary of Louisiana Economic Development. He served as Assistant Secretary and Senior Director of Business Development for the department since January 2005. With executive-level leadership, his duties include the implementation of domestic and international economic development programs and job retention, very important, job retention and creation efforts for the state of Louisiana. He is our governor and our state's primary representative to government officials, local communities, site selector consultants on all economic issues. Don has over 27 years of economic development experience and is a certified economic development professional. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Secretary Don Pearson.
He really did that beautifully because he used the word servant leader. And that's absolutely the way I see myself. And most of my remarks, I've pitched them out tonight because I don't feel like I'm in a formal setting, except for this tux. And by the way, you look great. And didn't the band sound great? That's awesome. But we are in a special occasion, and I got to tell you, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Caitlin. And for two reasons, and they'll both be presented on stage here shortly. And we'll talk more about some important awards that we're going to present this evening. But my run of show tells me that for 5 minutes, I should talk about the significance of trade in Louisiana and the significance of Trade Week. And I'm thinking to myself, I've got the most sophisticated audience within 1,000 miles that already knows all about this, that daily, weekly, yearly contributes to this very, very important economic driver to the whole state's economy here. Well, no, wait. What, the nation's economy, and contributes to the global economy right here in this room. Thank you. I think certainly, without question, it's about that. And so thank you for the efforts of your company, the things that you do, that you contribute, the leadership that's here, both the activities that we all conduct with our elected officials to make sure they know about the importance of what we do. And want to just share, because we had a special day in which Governor John Bel Edwards, and I got to tell you, he's a great port supporter and a great supporter of trade in our state. He gets it. And he issued this proclamation that Louisiana is open for business and provides a welcoming environment for trade and global companies, that exporting Louisiana goods supports more than 155,000 jobs in our state. I think that's understated. I'm going to sidebar for just a minute, because really, if you look at not just exports, but let's talk about imports, let's talk about all the jobs that are related to the things that we do relative to trade, it becomes more than 500,000 jobs. We're big on jobs. Honored to do that for you. Louisiana's economy is stronger because of the successful international trade, with more than 3,000 small and medium-sized goods exporters located in our state. And being a participant in the global economy, Louisiana faces increased competition from the United States and around the world to attract jobs and the next generation of industries. And that's what I work with all these organizations, all these companies, all these jurisdictions, all these political subdivisions to be successful in that competition daily. And taking deliberate steps to attract international trade and promote Louisiana exports abroad, which is a cornerstone of our economic development efforts and will bring added prosperity to workers and communities across our state. Governor John Bell Edwards certifies this proclamation. So I'm pleased to share that with you. I think it's tremendous that we have a leader that understands and works for us in that direction. I talked about it being important to be up here tonight, and to Caitlin and others, I would tell you how profoundly disappointed I would be if I didn't get this opportunity. And I don't always say that, and I'm 17 years running a Chamber of Commerce and an economic development organization at the parish level up in North Louisiana, and then have the honor and privilege to come to Baton Rouge and serve our state for more than a dozen years now. But we have two great awards that I want to present tonight. And I think first we'll call up SPF Depot to the stage. And why this is so special to me is because this is a Bossier company. And that's where I come from. And that's where my daughter was born. And that's where my daughter has now had my grandchildren. So my roots and my opportunities and a lot of great connection goes back to Bossier. And so their plant is over there on Pearl Drive. I know where that is. I know you know. But it is a great story about a company that has taken technology and innovation. And, you know, I don't know how you get to be an expert in foam.
Anything.
Well, the beer part of foam I get, okay?
Ask me.
But really what it relates to is something else called fluid dynamics. And I wouldn't even know that word except that I almost flunked that course in college. And so believe me, very complex. But certainly not only did they bring forward a great product, great service, and utilize that within our state and within our nation, they've taken this global. And that's accrued to all of our benefits. And so for that, they're recognized tonight as that Excellence in International Trade Award recipient.
We get interviewed a lot throughout the world with international magazines that deal with our business. I never hesitate for a second to say I'm not smart enough to build the organization I built, exporting our products to 40 countries. This has been a blessing to us, and it could only come through Christ himself. The reason he's had problems understanding dynamics, it's spelled D-Y-N, not D-I-N. But we manufacture the products. I can't say the word gun when I fly on international flights. We manufacture the products that spray in the bed liner material and spray foam insulation, which is popular here. We travel every year. I go to Poland and to Russia. We have distributors there. I go to Moscow. The United States is very well liked in Moscow. They appreciate our products and they want our products because they know they're going to get product consistent and with good quality. Last Friday, I just got back from China and from Hong Kong on a 2-week trip over there. It's the exact same thing in China. They love our products and they want the quality. Even the contractors in China demand a U.S.-made product because they want the consistency of that quality. And we're now selling to many people in manufacturing in China, knowing they're going to get that quality. And on top of that, it's a Louisiana product. Many people over there now know what a crawfish is. And I did manage, while I was in Shanghai just last week, they had a table that had pecans on them, but in Shanghai, they didn't call them pecans, it was called American nuts. So I had to say, no, they're called pecans. I said, they're not pecans. Pecan is something you keep in your boat or in the deer stand. A pecan is what you eat. So the next day when I came down for dinner, the waiter was there in the club lounge area, and he said, I just want you to know we changed our sign from American nuts to pecans. So now in China, they do know they are not American nuts, they are pecans. So I've had the great pleasure of traveling around and teaching people a little bit about Louisiana. I have to say the diet is quite a bit different. I've eaten a little bit of everything. I haven't eaten the chicken feet yet. But at this last party, they had the duck tongue. I have eaten jellyfish. I've eaten the hog ears. I've eaten some things I'm afraid to even ask what it is. I just eat it and take a big swallow of water. But I've really been blessed to be able to travel the world the way I do. We go, as I said, once a year to China and once a year to Moscow to be in a trade show to show our products. I also had the privilege of going through the Economic Development Group to Panama when they had a program where they paid us some money to go to there. Went on another trip to Lyon, France, which was really a great trip. Let me tell you, the people in France love Louisiana. They refer to us as the other France. Really warm welcome. So if you get an opportunity to travel to Lyon, just go there and tell them that you met Pat, because they do know me. But we've really been blessed, and a lot through economic development has been able to give us the opportunity to travel around the world and share some of the expense of going to these trade shows. And as I said, it's just been a blessing, and it's nothing I've done on my own. And I certainly couldn't have done it without my wife, who is managing the money. I tell my customers, if you get a call from Fran, you better start sweating bullets, because you either owe money or it's your birthday. But I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the award. Thanks.
Let's get a photo over here. We'll put you right in the middle.
Again, thank you for allowing me to recognize home folk from Bossier and Bossier Parish up in northwest Louisiana. And just as meaningful to me is the opportunity to present the next award this evening. And if I could ask her to start making her way up here. Yes. Miss Janine Mansour. Janine, project manager over at Port of New Orleans. And for all of us that are of my age here in the room, we're looking for those bright stars that are going to carry forward a lot of the vision, a lot of the dreams that we have going forward. And so it's not like just, here's the award, have a nice night for me. I'm very privileged because I got to test her mettle in the trenches along the way. A number of times, a number of projects and opportunities and administrative tasks that she had. But one was certainly remarkable, and that was the return of bananas to New Orleans. And It didn't quite stick, but that wasn't our fault. We had done an absolutely amazing job of working with Chiquita Banana. And I think if they had not been purchased by another corporation right after our deal got done, we'd probably still see a lot of that logo here in New Orleans. But it was a very, very intricate, detailed, lengthy, go there, make it work transaction, and demonstrated to me the full complement of skill sets, knowledge, experience that Janine brought to the table and helped our state, our ports, and this region of Louisiana not only succeed with a project, but be recognized for excellence, which we strive so hard to achieve each and every day. And she is certainly very, very appropriately recognized with the award for Young and Emerging Leader. So my great pleasure.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much, Mr. Secretary, for those wonderful compliments. You know, this is actually my first night out after having a baby 3 weeks ago, so thank you so much for giving me such a wonderful reason to get out of the house. Caitlin and the board, I'm really honored and humbled by this award. Thank you so much for all the great work that you all do with the World Trade Center and for this great honor. Many of you may be surprised to know that I actually had my first start as an intern at the World Trade Center about 10 years ago. And my internship was under the late and greatly missed Gene Schreiber. And I was currently working, before I started my internship, at a Fortune 500 with a full-time paid job. But I knew I always wanted to live in New Orleans and find my career in the international trade industry. So I did what every parent dreamed of. I left my full-time paid job and pursued an unpaid internship at the World Trade Center. So on my on my first day, I was at the old building. I walked in to the very vacant World Trade Center building thinking, oh my goodness, what have I done? But you know, it turned out to be the greatest introduction to the industry. The World Trade Center really is the glue of our industry and does great programming and education. So it was the perfect introduction to our industry. And I can't thank the World Trade Center enough for continuing the great work and really serving as such a strong catalyst for international trade growth for our state. So thank you so much. A few more thank yous. So of course I have to thank my family for your constant love and support. My mom, Chin Chin, is here, my husband, Aubrey, and my brother, Andre, and my dad, who's always with us in spirit. And then I have to thank my port family, who I wouldn't be standing up here today without the great leadership, Brandy and our board, and of course the previous leadership with Gary Lagrange, who hired me. And I can't thank Bobby Landry enough, who's been a phenomenal mentor to me and has taught me so much and challenged me every day, really. Even on maternity leave, he challenges me. But really, I'm so fortunate to work with such a great team and couldn't be more excited about all the great growth opportunities in front of us under Brandy and the board's leadership. Lastly, I would like to thank our MC, Mr. Don Pearson, because we're so fortunate to have such a strong advocate for our industry sitting in Baton Rouge, leading the state's economic development. We all know in this room that not everyone gets it in terms of the economic impact and the benefit that trade has. So we're so lucky to have someone like Mr. Pearson and our governor who really understand how important international trade is to our state. So thank you so much, and also congratulations to Mr. Aucoin and SPF Depot, and thank you for this wonderful honor.
really easy to see who the pro is here, right? All right, well, I'm going to depart. Again, my great honor to share awards tonight with SPF and Northwest Louisiana, with Janine, a rising young leader that you can continue to watch in the future. And Paul, we look forward to honoring you. It is such an honor to be here and to be a part of this ceremony this evening. And certainly, as you've heard expressed, Louisiana Economic Development understands what's important here. We're going to be your partner. We're going to be your supporter. We're going to find ways to win. At the end of the day, that's how they fill out my report card. And we look forward to a lot of great things in this state's future, and much of it will be driven by the people here in this room and international trade. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Pearson. For our next presentation, I'd like to now bring to the podium, someone who has a lot of day jobs. Not only is the chairman of the board of the World Trade Center and, as you heard earlier, the honorary consul of the Ukraine, he's one of the leading attorneys, not only locally but nationally, in international trade and business, and has been part of many, many important projects over the last several years, including teaching as an adjunct professor at Tulane University Law School. Please welcome Eddie Hayes.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is obviously the important part where we get to honor the Dean of International Trade every year, but before we get into that, there's a few things that I'd like to do for good order. First of all, I think our prior speaker mentioned Mr. Gary Lagrange, who is a prior recipient of this award, so I think it's appropriate that we ask Gary to please stand so we can all give him a round of applause. He's here. Oh, there he is. I'd also like to thank everyone who participated in the panels this week. For those of you who were able to make it, we had some phenomenal panels. Caitlin and the team did an outstanding job putting forth a great group of people. I saw Chris Kane over there. I saw Mark Hebert and a lot of people, and Jason French, who participated in these panels. And that's, I think, what Janine was talking about. That's what we really do. That's who we are. We try to get the substance out there. We try to talk about the issues that are really impacting trade and impacting the community. And so I want to thank the sponsors. I want to thank everybody who participated in the entire Trade Week. Thank you. So this will probably be my last time to introduce this award. I'm finally rolling off the board as the chair. And it's been a great honor for the past 3 years to introduce the Gene Schreiber Award. Gene was a great friend of mine when I was living in Washington, and before I moved back to New Orleans, he was somebody that I reached out to, somebody that I confided in, somebody that I talked about all my concerns about whether or not coming back to New Orleans was going to pan out for me, whether or not the trade work was going to be exciting, whether or not it was going to be fruitful, and he was just a phenomenal friend, a phenomenal person, and it's just been a great honor for the past 3 years to introduce the award on his behalf. And with that in mind, I want to again recognize the members of the Schreiber family who are here tonight. Of course, Mary, please stand. Jeremy, and of course, Cynthia. It's been a great honor of mine to introduce this award. I know we say the same speech every year, but it's always heartfelt, at least from my perspective. And it's been a great honor for me to do this, and I'm excited to do it one more time. Our recipient tonight is, well, first of all, let me just introduce the award for those of you who aren't familiar with it. The Gene Schreiber Award is reserved for an individual demonstrating the highest level of knowledge, passion, leadership, service related to international trade and diplomacy. Everybody knows Gene's history. First group that went out on the Peace Corps, and Gene is the one who really started this nucleus of international trade here in New Orleans, and of course with the help of the Coleman family, and there's a lot of history there. But I think we've now set the stage for that history to sort of guide our future, and we're really excited about our new leadership, and This is just one of those nights where it's really, really exciting for me to introduce this award and to present it to someone, because I think while we always want to be guided by our past, we're now more than ever looking forward to the future. And so I think honoring Janine was a great, was just really apropos, because I didn't realize that she quit a job to become an intern for Gene. So that says quite a lot. And our recipient tonight is someone that I have a very fond affection for, not simply because he's a great leader for our community and because of his role with the Port of South Louisiana, but because he's just a really good person. And Paul gives his time, he gives his effort, he gives his energy, he gives himself to us, to our organization. I've just been really privileged to serve with him on the board of the World Trade Center. And you know, if there's ever anything you need, Paul's the guy who jumps up and says, "Hey, I'm here to help you." And you know, we like to joke that he attends all our meetings only because he's got a new grandbaby in New Orleans. But I know it's more than that. It's much more than that. Paul really cares about international trade. His commissioners care about him. He's got the support that he needs. And Paul's just a really outstanding individual. And I'm really honored to present the award, the Gene Schreiber Award tonight, to Paul Aucoin of the Port of South Louisiana.
Wow. Oh, thank you, Eddie, for those kind words. Certainly appreciate them very, very much. Secretary Pearson, thank you for being here with us tonight. The winners, SPF and Janine, congratulations for the awards that you just won. I'd like to begin by introducing my family who are here with me tonight. My two wonderful daughters and their wonderful husbands. Shelley Winters. Shelley, please stand up. Shelley Winters and her husband, Michael, and Leah Regard and her husband, Eric. I'm very proud of them. I'm glad they could be here with us tonight. My boss, who had other plans, that's my one-year-old grandson, had other plans, couldn't be with us tonight, Michael III. Also, please allow me at this time to remember my deceased wife, Rita, who would be proudly sitting here with us tonight if she were here. Rita always provided balance to everything I did. And I remember one Sunday, we're sitting in church, and the priest is announcing the persons who were newly elected to the pastoral council. And he mentioned my name. And so on the way out of church, I asked Rita, I said, Rita, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I would have to submit my name in order to be elected, and I did not submit my name, so how did I get elected? And Rita said, I submitted your name, and if you can spend all this time serving all these other boards, you can spend time serving on the board of the pastoral council for the church. So I was elected, and I serve, and I'm still serving. So thank you, Rita, for submitting my name. If you're ever in Thibodeau, stop by the St. Joseph Cathedral. It's a beautiful, beautiful cathedral. It's worth the stop. Someone once said that life is a journey. Well, it's awards like this that make it a pleasant journey. I'm deeply honored and humbled to receive the Eugene Schreiber Award. But everyone in this room knows that seldom is a single person responsible for an award. I wouldn't be standing here tonight without the support of the commissioners and employees of the Port of South Louisiana, the #1 tonnage port in the Western Hemisphere, and as of last week, the 16th largest port in the world. We have some commissioners here tonight who I'd like to introduce. Our Commission President, Mr. Paul Robichaud, sitting here. Thank you, Paul, for being here tonight. Secretary Stanley Bazile. Stanley, thank you for being here tonight. Executive Vice President Joey Scrontino. Joey, thank you. And Vice President Whitney Hickerson. Whitney, thank y'all. And while talking about the Port of South Louisiana, I have to mention one of our sponsors, big sponsors here tonight, and one of our partners at the port, Associated Terminals, and David Finley. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. And of course, this award is so meaningful, and it's in large part due to the team at the World Trade Center, Caitlin and Jessica and Brandy. Thank you all so much for everything you did to help me. And how can I not talk so highly of the guy that introduced me, Eddie Hayes? What a job Eddie has done. What leadership he's provided. Thank you, Eddie, for all that leadership. And I want to thank everyone here tonight for being a part of this special occasion for me. Thank you, all of you, for being here tonight, supporting the World Trade Center, and making this night special. One day, the recipient of this award will not have known Eugene Schreiber. But I'm proud to say that I knew him. I knew Mr. Schreiber. We met in April of 1997. My friend David Young had asked me to help him with the former president of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev. David had contracted with Mr. Gorbachev to speak in New Orleans, and he was going to give 2 speeches a day for 3 days. One of those speeches was going to be at the World Trade Center, Plimsoll Club. Well, in typical Eugene Schreiber fashion, we had to rehearse every detail of this speech, where we were going to stand, where we were going to take pictures, what was going to be the agenda. Eugene Schreiber had to have everything down pat before we did it. And of course, this was just one of 6 venues, one of 6. The other 5 didn't care what we did. We just went there and did it. But at the World Trade Center, you had to go by the Eugene Schreiber method. And so you'd have thought we were planning a wedding or something. But let me say this. The event sold out, and it was a huge success. But what you saw, in addition to the passion for detail from Mr. Schreiber, was his warmth and his love for the World Trade Center. I mean, you just couldn't talk to him without getting that feeling. He cultivated friendships. Now, that luncheon, by the way, was sold out, standing room only. But Eugene could not spend all that time with me. I'd never met him before, so I'm spending this time planning. And he could not spend that time with me without suggesting that I become a member of the World Trade Center. You know, so I reluctantly explained to him that at that time, my office was in Vacherie, Louisiana, some 50 miles away, and I seldom got to the city. And I really, didn't know if I should become a member of the World Trade Center or not. And without missing a beat, he offered me an out-of-town membership, which at a reduced rate. Now, I'm convinced to this day that he came up with that out-of-town membership at the spur of the moment. I was going to ask Caitlin to check if we ever had any out-of-town members, but I'd rather just believe I was the only one. So don't check on that, please. And I'd be willing to bet he probably tried to get Mikhail Gorbachev to join up while he was here. But anyway, that was typical Eugene Schreiber, and I'm told on October 16th he would be 80 years old. So we certainly wish him a happy birthday where he is tonight, yes. Now, this Eugene Schreiber Award, this prestigious award, is given to a recipient for promoting trade for the benefit of the state of Louisiana. And we are so very fortunate to have in our state what I consider to be this country's greatest natural resource, the Mississippi River. Without that magnificent river, it would be very difficult, as Secretary Pearson would agree, very difficult to promote international trade. But with an international trade, as Secretary Pearson said, comes more jobs, and that's what we're all about. More jobs for our Louisiana citizens, the most productive workforce in the United States of America. In his book, entitled The Accidental Superpower, the author, Peter Ziman, basically says that the U.S., the United States, is an accidental superpower because of the Mississippi River. That's how important that river is to this country. So I'm going to talk a short while for one of my passions, and that's dredging the mouth of the river. The mouth of the river is not a Louisiana problem, keeping it at 50 feet every day, all day. It's a USA problem. All the grain and other commodities that come from the Midwestern state, 31 states, 26 million people are served by the Mississippi River. And all of that comes down here to the mouth of the river. And if the mouth of the river is not at 50 feet where it should be, then it prevents us from being reliable and competitive. And we have to remain reliable and competitive. So maybe one thing we can do tonight is maybe everyone here pick up the phone and call a congressman or a senator in one of those Midwestern states and remind them that the mouth of the Mississippi River serves them as much as it serves us and how important it is. Receiving this award tonight is not an end, but a pause in my life's journey. I promise you I will continue to work every day to promote international trade in order to become more deserving of the Eugene J. Schreiber Award. I'm truly honored and humbled to be the 5th recipient of the Eugene Schreiber Award. Former recipients, Senator Mary Landrieu, Congressman Charles Bustani, the Honorable James Coleman, and my good friend who we already recognize, Gary LaGrange. But let's recognize all the former recipients. I just can't express how truly an honor this is and how humbled I am. And I close with 2 words: thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Since Paul invoked the name of Mikhail Gorbachev, I think that deserves another honor. So if I could call up to the stage my co-chair, Mr. Tom Spears, there's an additional award I think that we'd like to bestow upon our recipient tonight.
Hang tight for just a minute. I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight and being a part of Louisiana International Trade Week and the culminating event. Really appreciate everyone's involvement. Tonight is something that is very special for Paul, and this is an award that it's called the Plimsoll Mark. The Plimsoll means many things to our organization, a club, an award, but it has its beginnings in the steamship industry and international trade. So it means a lot to who we are and what we do. So the Order of the Plimsoll Mark, which is the World Trade Center's highest honor, is reserved for heads of state, cabinet ministers, ambassadors, and other visiting dignitaries for their contributions to world peace, trade, and understanding. Recipients of the award include Presidents Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and Mikhail Gorbachev, who Paul has met. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and Madeleine Albright as well, and numerous ambassadors from other nations during their visits here to the World Trade Center. Most of these awards were given out by Gene. Tonight's recipient embodies the attributes associated with the award. So it's with great pleasure that we honor and present the mark to Mr. Paul Aucoin, my friend. Nobody more deserving.
All right, well, I didn't prepare another speech, just ditto what I said repeated again, but I mean, what an honor. Thank y'all. I mean, come on, y'all killing me. Thank you so much.
Once again, congratulations, Paul. All right, the evening is not yet over. We have the Lafayette All-Stars coming back up, and I do want to remind you that that silent auction in the back of the room will remain open till 10 p.m. So once again, bid high and bid often. I'd now like to brag on someone before I bring her up here. She's a wonderful servant leader in our community, a two-time recipient of City Business Magazine's Women of the Year, was honored as Star of the Southwest by the Economic Development Administration. And she's a graduate of the New Orleans Regional Leadership Institute, past president of Women's Professional Council, and sits on numerous boards and advisory councils. We know her as a certified economic developer and urban planner and the chief executive officer of the World Trade Center of New Orleans. Please welcome Caitlin Kane.
Thank you, Mark, for that wonderful intro. Good evening, everyone. Are y'all having fun? Fabulous. You enjoying the entertainment? Stilt walkers, the magicians, the bands? Thank you all so much for being here tonight and for being here to celebrate all of our champions of trade. Paul, Janine, SPF Depot, thank you so much for the work that you do day in and day out to make the Louisiana economy a true success. Thank you again. This evening marks the culmination of a week-long activity celebrating Louisiana's culture of trade. We are finally at the end of Trade Week. We have had over 7 events, dialogues, and different speeches throughout the week, focusing on everything from public-private partnerships to digitization and the importance of cybersecurity, to tourism and destination healthcare, to how small businesses can do different business and seek out business opportunities in tribal lands. We touched and we discussed it all. And throughout this entire week, we received an attendance of over 560 participants. Not bad for a small staff, which is the World Trade Center of New Orleans. None of this would have been possible if not for the staff of the World Trade Center. And I would like to give a giant note of gratitude out to the WTCNO staff sitting out there in the back, if you could all stand up and be recognized. These ladies of trade fought back virulent viruses, hospital stays, surgeries, no manner of anything short of locusts, to ensure that Trade Week and this Jubilee was a giant success. Thank you so much for all of your work and all of your dedication. I would also like to thank the board of directors of the World Trade Center of New Orleans, not just for your support of this crazy idea to have an entire week-long celebration of Louisiana's culture of trade, but for your dedication and your enthusiasm for all of our activities throughout the year. Thank you so much for everything that you do for the center. I would most especially like to thank our hosts this evening, the New Orleans Convention Center, for allowing us to be gathered tonight in this beautiful room, which is just incredibly decorated. Thank you so much for allowing us to have the use of your facilities. I can't imagine a better place to be gathered together tonight to celebrate our culture of trade. But I would be completely remiss if I did not recognize the reason that we're here tonight, which is the sponsors and the investors behind the World Trade Center of New Orleans. You, investors and sponsors, are the reason that we can do the day in and day out activities to create the educational platform that allows us to help Louisiana business seek global opportunities. Thank you so much, not just for your enthusiasm, but also for your dedication and your continued investment in the World Trade Center of New Orleans. It is so very much appreciated. This last year at the WTCNO has been an absolute whirlwind of activity. We have pursued myriad activities, from hosting summits, to dialogues, to panel conversations, to a number of different educational programmatic activities. And we are looking forward to continuing to champion this educational program going into 2018. None of this would have been possible without the investors behind WTCNO, and in fact, all of the members that are part of our network. And you will also have the opportunity to continue to support that WTCNO network, because on Monday morning, all of you will be receiving a survey. And I know we hate surveys. It takes time. But please, if you could take 5 to 8 minutes of your day out and just complete that survey, that would be incredibly beneficial to our organization, because that's the information that we're going to use to drive programmatic educational endeavors going into 2018 and beyond. So again, just take a moment to fill out that survey. Throughout the year, we have pursued robust programmatic planning. We have grown our membership. We have increased our visibility tremendously, and we look forward to continuing to do this into 2018. As part of this process, we have also developed a video anthem, which I promise you we will show momentarily, and I'll stop jabbering and we can enjoy the rest of the evening. But underlining that video is the importance of international trade to the Louisiana economy. But more so, beyond international trade, is the significance of the trade network. It's the significance of all of you that make up what WTCNO is all about. It's about membership, it's about purposeful collisions, it's about coming together in moments such as tonight, where we can share these experiences and we can share our connections and we can help businesses go global. So thank you again for coming out tonight to celebrate our champions of trade and our culture of trade. And I would encourage you all, even though this video anthem is essentially the closure of this evening, the evening is young. The band's gonna come back up on stage. The dance floor is gonna open. And Michael Ricks, where are you? In the back. Michael Ricks is there to take your bids, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not already bid on an item tonight, we have tons of art and excursions and restaurants for you to bid on. So please go out, visit the auction. The bars are open, the dance floor is almost open. It's a jubilee. Let's dance, let's celebrate, and let's show the video. Thank you very much.
New Orleans was built upon the promise of trade, and the World Trade Center was built upon the promise of New Orleans. But at no time since its founding has the World Trade Center seen an environment so charged with opportunity. The world may be getting smaller, but the opportunities for Louisiana businesses to engage with it are multiplying. It's our job every day to make international trade a priority for Louisiana businesses and prove that going global is a viable way to expand reach and grow revenue. We believe that those who are already engaged in trade could do more, and those who aren't should be. We appreciate that international trade comes with complication, and that complication can stifle ambition. With a true understanding of the interconnections of the global marketplace, we're able to educate and inform the next generation of Louisiana business leaders about the prospects of global trade and outline ways for them to realize their potential for international growth. Our network of members and specialists within the global community can share the history and knowledge necessary to streamline participation in international trade. Aligning with this network allows businesses to move quickly from ambition to action. While you're busy changing, building, supplying, designing, investing, manufacturing, and creating, we're busy getting out in front of projects and policy issues that may affect trade, regardless of industry. Big or small, family or corporate, no matter the category or sector of your business, trade is an opportunity. When you're ready to realize it, join us. Because at the World Trade Center, we know how to make the promise of your business an international reality.